this is information.
Let us free ourselves from the oppressive influence of the myths and of doomsday memories and anxieties and guilt, all of that, and explore what a human being really is.
Describe the non-physical in terms of the physical. That doesn't work, and that's where a lot of our sci research goes wrong. They're trying to describe something that's not basically non-physical consciousness in terms of what's physical. Well, that's the subset trying to describe the superset without having the means to do that. It doesn't work. It's illogical.
And science is collapsing now. Science is not able to address what human beings want most, and that's a meaningful world.
When you create a new chemical somewhere in a laboratory on Earth, it seems to be easier for somebody else to do it. In fact, you'll often find that the synthesis takes place in laboratories that have nothing to do with each other at different parts of the world. So it seems that once you learn how to do something, the entire, or at least the local universe, learns the lesson. It's out there somehow. And I think the same goes for us. We're here to learn, and in that process, the local universe learns.
All we can say with great confidence is you can't ignore the electric connections here to the sun.
Rotation, rotation, rotation. When you take mass in our three dimensions and you spin it, you create forces that are non-Newtonian, that are not modeled in normal laboratory data. However, I've got an incredible new piece of information, which will also be in the article. But what these guys did was they basically spun water in a bucket with some holes in it. And they found if they spun the water fast enough, like almost 1,000 RPM, hundreds of times per second, that they would get bizarre geometric shapes. And the shapes walked up the 2D projections of the platonic solids, from the equilateral triangle all the way to the hexagon, depending upon the rate of rotation. We've got planets out there, Jupiter and Saturn in particular, that are emitting like 3 to 2 times more energy into space than they're getting from the sun. So you got to ask yourself, where's the energy coming from? And there's no mainstream model, no mainstream theory, despite all their arm waving, which can explain tonight why Jupiter and Saturn are emitting about twice as much energy into space as they can be getting at their respective distances from the sun.
The gases from aircraft have a very substantial effect on dimming the radiance of the sun that reaches the Earth.
Really a mysterious energy. Well, if that energy is in fact coming up from the center, from the core, it has to be appearing there, it has to be transmitted there from somewhere. But it's not going through space, it's not going through the 3 dimensions that we can see, that we can experience, that we can observe with instruments, with spacecraft. So how is it appearing? Well, it's appearing in our model literally out of hyperspace. It's appearing out of another dimension. And these planets out there are not the only ones where it's appearing. It's appearing in the Earth. Ultimately, I believe that the global warming that we're experiencing now, where every scientist that, Alan and George and the others have now talked to, basically agree that there's global warming. They can't agree on the cause. There's the Gore types that say it's SUVs, and then there's the other scientists who say, oh no, it's a natural cycle with the sun. Well, unfortunately, the sun has actually been getting a little dimmer in this period, even when the Earth and the other planets are getting warmer. So where does that take us? It takes us to the idea that energy is appearing from hyperspace inside planets, inside their cores, their mantles, their atmospheres, warming them up, being dissipated by entropic degradation into heat. But in fact, we don't know. Mainstream science can't track where it's coming from. That's why this incredible signature on Saturn, predicted by the geometry of rotating mass, it's the only answer, ultimately, from where this excess energy is coming from. I mean, we've got Pluto, which is 4+ billion miles from the center of the solar system, leaving it, going farther away from the sun, getting warmer.
You might wonder who owns the mineral rights of the moon. Well, you'll find that 95% of the mineral rights on the near side of the moon and 50% of the mineral rights on the back side of the moon are owned by a group of 3 individuals. They're Americans. They've had it for 25 years. And in fact, this same group owns the mineral rights to most of the solar system. And you can check this out in the website Universal Mineral Leases Registry, and you'll find their names. They're government contractors, some of them. Now, how they got it, I don't know, but it's theirs.